Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's meteorologist Matt Wintz here for Region Weather. Hope you guys are doing well here on our extended weekend. A lot of you, obviously, with tomorrow off, so I'm sure you're doing everything late like we are here tonight. Oh, man, it's cold. Anyone sick of the cold yet? I know it's January. I hear that all the time. Anytime I post any opinion about the cold on social, someone's like, well, it's January. Why do you live here? I get it. We can still hate the cold being here in the Midwest, and it is certainly going to get colder here as we go over the next 24 hours. We've got really a lot to talk about in the forecast. I mean, we're not going to just talk numbers. I know numbers aren't too fun to talk about, but we'll talk about the numbers here briefly. But more importantly, we're getting into that pattern, and we mentioned this last week, where we're jumping into this weather pattern where we're going to start to open up the Gulf a little bit more. These systems that are coming through, like with the snow we have right now, there's not a lot of moisture to them. So yes, they cause problems. They make it slick outside, but overall, there's not a lot of snow out of it, right? Outside of any lake effect snow that we get, which we had, obviously. But we're going to start to get into this pattern where the Gulf starts to open up. Some of that moisture is going to become available for these systems as we get into the extended forecast. And I was talking to someone at church today, just saying, hey, what's coming our way in February and March? That's when we jump into winter storm and like snow storm season around here. January, we can get some bigger storms, but typically the Gulf is shut down a lot of the time because you have a lot of cold air coming out of Canada. But once we get into February and March, we have that warmer air that starts to come north. And overall, we start to deal with some problems because you get bigger storm systems with winter storms, not necessarily here, but over the Midwest, the Northeast, Eastern U.S., stuff like that. So we see one in the future. I'm going to talk about that here in the forecast. All right, let's pull up. This is our radar loop, so I'll have that going. I'll say hi to our early birds here in a second. We'll let a few more people join. Let me get through our sponsors real quick. Obviously, they keep the show for free and everything else that we do. And in terms of our sponsors, they're all local. You guys know that. You guys know these guys like the back of your hand. They're just wonderful in their trades. Our name stands behind them. They're just great. I want to start you out with Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's your home loan girl. She's here to help you beat those winter blues, whether you're planning a spring move or exploring refinancing options, which are becoming a little bit more attractive now, right? As rates come down, maybe refinancing is in line for you. That will save you monthly. Could save hundreds of dollars. She's helping homeowners start the new year with a stress-free mortgage process. Call or text her today to find out how you can stay ahead of the spring market and set yourself up for home buying success this year. She's Kate Cusack, Home Loan Girl on Facebook, or you can send her a message or text her, as she said, 219-775-6645. Halcyon Water Solutions provides the highest quality water treatment with exceptional service all across Northwest Indiana. They do water softening, filtration, salt delivery, maintenance. They've got all your water needs covered. Call 866-97-WATER to schedule your free in-home water analysis today. Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning. I had a few people that said their furnaces were out or on the fritz. Passcat Joey says, turn the heat on. Some people can't. And if you can't, that's not fun, all right, especially with air masses like this coming in. Guys, give Earl's a call. They're going to be slammed the next couple of weeks, so get in there as soon as you can. They can get out. Earl'sHeating.com, the place to go if your furnace is on the fritz, anything HVAC that you need. They've been serving Northwest Indiana since 1976. That's a long time. They know what they're doing. Earl'sHeating.com. Get on the schedule. They can come out. They can get you a new system, or they can just give you a tune-up or figure out what's wrong. But you got to get that stuff fixed. Go to Earl's if you have any problems with that. Romans Roofing is a place to go for all your roofing needs. They don't just stop at roof. If you need anything related to roof, obviously they do that. But they also do windows, siding, gutters. Windows would be nice, right? If you have like wind coming in at you at night out your window, it's probably not good. They can do window replacements this time of year. Roofing, they usually have to wait till spring unless it's a fix. They can do that. But they've got everything. All inspections, estimates are completely free. 219-838-9111 is Roman's roofing number. T&T Tree Service, they provide exceptional service here in Northwest Indiana regarding tree removal. They're experienced, they're professional. They come in, they clean up. If you have any trees that you need that maybe fell, that you need cleaned up, or maybe you have one that's leaning where it shouldn't be or just looks like it needs taken down, call them at 219-300-6256 or visit them at ttreeservice.com. Minogue.life, Michael Minogue, who's been serving Northwest Indiana in the world of life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. He knows his stuff. This guy's awesome. And he has no-cost consultations. If you have any questions around your plan that you have, or maybe some changes that went into effect in 2026, he'd be happy to let you know what you're looking at. And maybe you need to make some changes based on things you're not getting or things you need. But he reminds us as we get closer to Valentine's Day, when you start to think about the people you love, If you have people that depend on you, you want to review and ask if you have the appropriate amount of life insurance. So now's the time to talk that. Maybe you don't need to be paying as much into life insurance. Maybe you're paying too much. He'd be happy to guide you through that. Minogue.life is the website to go to there. Publicserviceadjusting.com. If you need a public service adjuster, what's that? Have an insurance claim on your property? Don't call your insurance company first. Call Public Service Adjusters. They're local licensed insured here to Northwest Indiana. They come out, document whatever it is, package it up, they send it and submit it to your insurance company, and they'll do all the back and forth with your insurance company, and they won't take no for an answer, and they won't take lowball offers for an answer. They're awesome. They're like middleman that you never knew you needed. 5-star reviews across the board. People are like, I didn't know this existed. PublicServiceAdjusting.com. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. If you need a 4-wheel drive vehicle, not a bad option. They've got brand new Jeeps ready to go, including the new Wagoneer. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram right there on US 30. FBIBuildings.com. If you need a new pole barn constructed, they do residential, they do commercial. They've done over 20,000 of them in the Midwest. They have amazing portfolio on their Facebook page. It's unbelievable what these structures look like. FBIBuildings.com. And finally, last but not least, TigerPlumbing.net. If you guys need a plumber, especially when this air gets so cold tonight and tomorrow, we're going to have some issues with some pipes if you're not letting them drip. So just make sure you got the slow drip on. They remind us especially any faucets and pipes that are close to outdoor walls, right, that maybe aren't insulated. Just want to turn it on a slow drip overnight tonight to keep that water running so it doesn't freeze up inside that pipe. That should do the trick, and keep your thermostat up as well. But if you do have any issues, TigerPlumbing.net, you can take a video of the issue, a picture, send it to them on the mobile app. They'll come out. They come out for free, which is awesome. They're our favorite plumbers. TigerPlumbing.net. All right, let's say hi to our early birds. Mary on board here first. Hi, Mary. Hope everything's going well. Rhonda's with us as well. Hi, Rhonda. Mark's with us. Happy Sunday, Mark. Vicky, good evening to you. Ethan, hey, buddy. How you doing? Alyssa's ready for spring. I feel ya. Darlene, hello. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Same with you, Susan. I appreciate that. Teresa, hello. Ethan says, lots of chatter about next week's system. Let's break through that. We're going to talk all about that, Ethan. Lisa's with us as well. Danielle, hello. Rich says it's getting cold. It is. Not yet, Rich. I mean, it's cold already, but it's on. I've got a map pulled up. It's on its way. Diane, good evening to you. Amanda's with us. JP says it's cold. Dot's with us as well. Kathy, Keith from Kentland. Hi, Keith. I put Kentland on the map today. I put the label on there. A lot of people wonder why we can't put labels all over the map. Well, you wouldn't be able to see the map, but our snowfall map, I remember typing in Kentland today, so that was for you, Keith. All right, and we've got Pearl, Janet, Terry, Katie's with us as well. There you go. All right, Mark's here. Mark wants some warm air. I got that. Gloria, I see your question about winds. Okay, let's dive into the forecast, then we'll answer questions at the end. And yes, go Bears. Go Bears. Man, if maybe they don't do it in the fourth quarter, that'd be great. Let's do it in the first. All right, so here we go. In terms of our forecast, we've got snow moving through right now. This is very light snow. There's not a ton of moisture with us, all right? But it is snowing outside. If you look outside right now, you've got the little tiny flakes. There's not a ton of, fluff factor to this at all. This is going to coat everything. And now that the sun is down, I was looking at observations back in Illinois, Wisconsin, all the way up to Minnesota where the system's coming from. There aren't a lot of road issues with this, okay? So we're not dealing with a bunch of slick roads or anything like that. As long as it's treated, it's okay for now, although that treatment's not going to work very well once we get to tomorrow morning, but we'll lose a lot of the snow. But either way, the reason why it's not bad is because it's been daytime, right? Now that the sun is down, we may have some slick spots to develop this evening. So just be careful, especially some of the side roads that are out there, some of the country roads as well. We are going to get slick tonight. Not a lot of snow from this. Again, we posted on our page earlier and on our website. Those of you that subscribe to our daily emails, I did a little push with this cold and the snowfall forecast here this afternoon. So you guys are all well aware. It's in your inbox right now. If you're not signed up for our emails, it's regionweather.com. On the right-hand side, you can sign up for emails. I usually send one a day. That's it. And I'll type it up. It's a graphic we made. It's not AI. It's not a bot. It's not your apps. So there's that. But we sent that out earlier. I think a half an inch to an inch and a half out of this. That's not a big deal, all right? But it is going to slicken things up for anything that's untreated. So think your driveway, stuff like that, going to be a little slick as we go through time, okay? So that's what we've got right now. This system will be out of here. I do want to kind of change the view here. Here we are, Northwest Indiana, way down in the corner by the logo. You can't see us. That's okay, though. Our temps are in the upper teens right now, and we are holding in the upper teens all the way into eastern Iowa, okay? But notice these little wind lines here. See these little kind of arrows coming off of these old-fashioned station plots. Notice how they changed direction. This is your northwest wind. This is where it's southwest wind. So draw the front right in here. The front is heading through eastern Iowa into areas of Wisconsin right now. That is the front between our warmer air, which we have now in the teens, and our colder stuff that's coming in hot tonight. And I mean like cold tonight. It's coming in hot, but cold. You guys know what I mean. Tomorrow morning is going to feel nasty, like just harsh. That's what I said the other day to my wife. I said, just harsh outside. And it's just not going to feel good. We're going to have gusty winds tomorrow. Wind chill values -10 to -20, depending on when the wind is blowing. That's the air we don't mess around with. So again, as you go to bed tonight, make sure you leave a slow drip on, area faucets right around your house. Leave the thermostat up a little bit as well. Those are some things that you can do. Make sure you're taking care of your pets. No outdoor pets in this kind of weather. You want to bring them in. I understand if it's a cow or a horse, you probably don't have room in your living room. I get it. But just make sure your animals are taken care of as well. And check on people as well. Make sure, if you've got grandma down the street or something, just make sure a furnace is working, okay? We'll get through it. It's just cold, but we need to take cold seriously. And unfortunately, heat and cold I don't like talking about because it's not sexy, right? There's not like severe weather and tornadoes. But this is the stuff that gets you, and I just don't want anyone to have some issues with this, okay? So that cold air is on the way. The snow will last a little bit longer. This is part of the snow should last through tomorrow morning's rush hour. We'll still have some flurries around. Again, not a big deal to be on and off overnight. This is part of the bigger picture pattern, though. Look at this air coming straight down out of Canada. When it's coming gush out of Canada, we've got cold air coming in. We had an East Coast system that continues to bring snow to Boston, areas like Nantucket. They're getting a good snow up and down the eastern seaboard from this. But for us, huge ridge off the west coast. Here it is. This is the one we were talking about last week developing, right? We knew this was going to develop. Everything that goes up must come down. And when it goes way up into areas of Alaska, it's got to come way down, right? This is not what we call a zonal flow, which is west to east. There are big undulations in this. And so as a result, we open up the eastern and central U.S. to this Arctic air. We've got a chunk of the polar jet, which is diving through the area right now. That's why we have these clippers. And then you have this polar vortex air mass off towards the north. I'm going to take this over the next 15 days. Watch what doesn't happen. There are no changes. This ridge holds. Cold air holds in the eastern half of the country. Ridge starts to break down here. This is the 23rd, so this is this upcoming Friday. But then it builds back as this low kind of has to go up and around it. And see how it builds back right there? So that keeps the cold air coming all the way through the end of January. It will come in waves. It does look like the one that's coming later on next weekend or this week into next weekend will be the coldest. This is the coldest of the season so far, tonight and tomorrow. But then we will top that as we go into next weekend. And then notice as we get in that first week of February, we're now up to February 2nd. Here's Groundhog Day. What do we have? Ridge is broken down perhaps. Again, this is kind of fantasy land in the modeling, but it's got to break down at some point. And that would bring us more of a zonal flow, all right? And what zonal flow would do is bring us back up near average again, but it also opens up the Gulf for systems, okay? So we'll talk more about that in a second. So what does this cold air that's sticking around do for our temps? Here's a look at, this is deterministic, all right? I've looked at ensembles. This deterministic looks just fine. This is the Euro. Temperatures cold the next couple days. I'm going to come back to these numbers in a second. We get a little bounce up to near freezing, perhaps Wednesday, and then we get a chunk of real cold air. Look at these lows on the Euro. -16 waking up Friday morning this week, -19 waking up Saturday. Those are air temp possibilities. Notice there are more temps below zero at night all the way through the end of January before we get some moderation. All right, so really, really cold stuff. We're talking from here until January 31st, we may be below freezing. That's a stat for you, and way below freezing at that. So that's, again, where our pipes and stuff like that start to take a little toll. Water main breaks in some of our jurisdictions, some of our towns and stuff like that. That becomes an issue as well. So all these things, check on your car battery as well. All these things we need to be prepped for here because we got about a 2-week spell of cold with some shots of some bitter cold in there as well. All right, let's come back to these numbers, though. It's saying a high 18 tomorrow. What's up with that? High of 20 on Tuesday. What's going on with that? Well, that's deceiving because that high of 18 is going to occur probably at midnight tonight, and then it's downhill. So, yes, tomorrow is still going to be bitterly cold. So here come the temps. I'm going to take you through time. This is this evening. This is midnight. We're still around 16. And then, goosh, here comes the cold so that by tomorrow morning, we are 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees outside with a nasty northwest wind. All right, that's why, I don't recommend going outside tomorrow if you don't have to. It's MLK Day. A lot of you with the day off, but just nasty outside, really, really nasty. And all day we stay in the single digits. And then tomorrow night, here you go, we kind of bottom out near 0 or so, maybe below 0 in spots, waking up Tuesday morning. But then by Tuesday, see how these lines have kind of changed around. These are the isobars that shows wind direction and how fast it is. Southwest wind takes over Tuesday. So Tuesday, we're going to start cold, but we'll finally bounce out of it. We should make our way upper teens, maybe 20, as the Euro said. But that high tomorrow is deceiving. And it's probably shown up in your phone app as well, which it should, because that is technically the high for the day. But your phone app's probably saying 18, 19 tomorrow. I don't want you to be fooled by that. It's going to be in the single digits all day while we're awake, right? And then that wind chill value, we're talking -10 to -20 tomorrow. All right, depending on if the wind blows, that wind chill is not a static number. It's always fluctuating. So there's that. Okay, and in terms of the snowfall, we're not expecting a ton. All right, but we'll be in and out of the snow tonight. You see how this wave moves through with that Arctic front that hits right there. I don't expect snow squalls with this, as we've seen with our last couple Arctic fronts. This one has a different makeup to it. There's not as much moisture availability out ahead of it because our air is not as warm. And we have just a gush of cold air coming in, so it just kind of dries everything up. What is going to happen as we go into the afternoon tomorrow and then on into Tuesday is we're going to have lake effect snow that sets up. Again, I posted on that. Our email subscribers got that graphic that I sent out earlier this afternoon. But we will likely have lake effect, not for Lake and Porter counties. All right, this is going to be LaPorte County up towards Berrien County, South Bend. You get the drill. And this is not what we just saw. We're not going to see a mega band develop. We're going to see a persistent flow coming off the lake where we just have general snow shower activity, but it'll be persistent enough that I see areas that could get 3, 4, 5, maybe up to 6 inches of snow, primarily out towards South Bend. But LaPorte County, you could get, I would say 3 to 4, I think is what I had earlier on there. But you can see how that lasts all day tomorrow before winding down as that wind shifts, okay? So that's the near term. That's today or tomorrow and Tuesday. Let's go long term now, all right, because we've got a huge winter storm potential across the eastern half of the country. And it's interesting because my feed on social, I go through like the first 6 just to see what's a buzz. And all 6 of them, all posts that I saw were all about this blockbuster winter storm. One was a meteorologist ripping these basement pages, which I thought I'm kind of over it. All right, it's been that way all winter. You get these pages just hype and want clicks. Please don't click and please don't hype with them. But all the pages except for one, which is kind of humorous, they're all talking about this winter storm. And they all had like click here fireworks and explosions and monster trucks on them. And they said big winter storm coming to the south. All right, we're a little bit far out for this. Okay, so we need to slow our roll. The potential's there, though, that this thing could be a doozy. For us, though, locally, not so much. However, we need to watch it because things can shift north with model runs. So here's what we're talking about, all right? Here's your Tuesday, all right? Things drying up as the wind shifts. Another clipper comes in here Tuesday night into Wednesday during the day. Most of it off towards the north, but again, could have a quick accumulation, maybe an inch, maybe 2 if things go well on the day Wednesday. And then Thursday, we get another little kind of appendage on this upper level low that's off towards the north. So we could have more snow showers around here on Thursday. So Wednesday, Thursday, some snow showers. Friday, can't rule out some snow. Most of it will be lake effect. And then here comes the big bopper. Remember that cold air that's settling in? That's all the snow shower activity Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is from that Arctic air pushing in. So we've got cold air now settled all the way down to Tennessee. Well, what we haven't done is had the Gulf moisture involved. Well, now we do. It does look like there's going to be a lot of moisture gathering back towards Texas Friday into Saturday. And then look at this system here. That's a doozy, all right? This has a ton of moisture with it, says the Euro. The GFS is a little bit drier with this. They have it kind of, it's a little bit more subdued down to the south. They have drier air working into a lot of it. But we'll see what happens. This is the big system everyone's talking about on social. All right, again, this is this next weekend, so next Saturday and Sunday. And you can see what it does. It slides to our south, so it's no problem to northwest Indiana for now. But this would be a huge ice storm, and it would take up a ton of real estate. There would be an ice storm along the I-20 corridor, all right? We would have ice maybe as far south as central and southern Georgia, areas that got snow today. They had 1 to 3 inches of snow in Georgia today. But look at the snowstorm that rages through areas of Oklahoma from OKC to Nashville, the I-40 corridor there, would get hammered with snow, and that would head out towards the Carolinas Saturday, Sunday, this next weekend, okay? And then that heads out, and what do we deal with? Still quiet weather. We deal with quiet weather if that thing passes south. There's not going to be an issue. And then as we go through time, end of January, in the beginning of February, could we get some rain in here as we start February? It keeps showing that on the models, but this cold air sticks around. All right, so how much snow from here on out? I do want to show you that system down to the south. For us, again, inch and a half with the system that moves through tonight and tomorrow. Maybe another quick inch or so with the system that moves through to late Tuesday into Wednesday. And then a little bit more here and there, maybe another half an inch, another inch or so as we get into the weekend. Lake effect zone's going crazy, right? It's going to be very persistent lake effect snow in Michigan, and then out towards Erie and Buffalo, and then up towards Watertown and Syracuse. A lot of lake effect snow for those zones. It'll just be persistent. And so if you are traveling up 94, it is going to get messy. As soon as you hit Berrien County, once you get up into the East Lansing area, out towards Detroit, that whole corridor, Grand Rapids, up into areas of northern Michigan, just going to be a mess, okay? It's going to be very snowy up there. For us, not a lot. And then here comes that snowstorm. This is what the Euro's saying as of today. Maybe a half foot to a foot of snow. OKC over towards Nashville. And then the amounts really pick up in the Carolinas and Virginia. So if you have travel plans, any of those spots, it's going to get pretty snowy, or the potential's there. I shouldn't say that yet. This is not locked in stone, but the potential's there. They could get pretty snowy down there with a big ice accumulation south of that. I mean, this would be a big ice storm for some of these folks down to the south. I think it switched 18Z. Yeah, here we go. So there's your ice storm. Yikes. I mean, this would be crippling if they had ice amounts above an inch, but it's saying like 1 to 2 inches of ice, which is just, I mean, that would take down a lot of stuff. So let's pray for our friends down towards the south that this doesn't come to fruition. I know they kind of like that stuff sometimes in terms of the snow. I don't know any southern friend that likes the ice. But for us, we remain cold, and that's kind of where we're going to stay here as we go through the extended. I showed you the numbers there. Should bounce out of it in early February. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you guys today or tonight. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer those for you. Hopefully you found this helpful. Really, again, this show's here for you. So if there's anything that you guys want to see that you're not getting out of this, just make sure you just throw in the chat. That's fine. You can private message us as well on Facebook, or you can send us an email as well. Okay? And I think that's all I have for you. So we've got, we're on the radio side of things, X-Rock 103 and EN 105.5 and C107.1 every single day. If you don't miss us on there, we'll go from there. All right. Drega, you're the first comment I saw. Wish you were on news on TV. Drega, I appreciate that. I am. As you know, I have my full-time gig in Cleveland. So I do the morning show at a great Cleveland station. I've been doing that for 9 years now. And this all started back in Indiana. Remember, I did Lakeshore Public Television for 8 years. So those are my two places. I was there, went down to Georgia for 3 years at NBC, and then came to Cleveland. And so, yeah, so I'm on TV, just not locally. So, but we've kept this. I started a Facebook page for Northwest Indiana way back when they were discontinuing the news portion at PBS there in Maryville. They wanted to keep doing with radio, but they discontinued news. And so then I found the job down in Georgia, obviously. And the Georgia job was cool because I got to still be a chief meteorologist, but I got to develop a team of meteorologists. They were starting news. And I had a background in leadership through my days in retail management downtown Chicago. I was running one of the stores in Water Tower. And that leadership was great because I got to take it into the weather world, which is where I wanted to be, and got to lead a group of awesome meteorologists down there who I'm still friends with today, and then came home to Cleveland. And so that's it. So that's our story. But we kept this Facebook page going, and it's turned into Region Weather, and it's been, I think we've been 15 years or something like that now. I don't know. I have it somewhere. But yeah, it's just been, that's the story if you guys don't know that. So there's that. All right. Let's see. Gloria says, where can I get the emails again? No problem, Gloria. So it's regionweather.com, real easy website. And then on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see sign up for emails. It's a little blank spot. You just enter your email in there and click sign up, and that's it. And every morning, I type up an email, get you the daily forecast or whatever you need to know, and I send it out, and that's it. That's all you hear from me. We don't spam or bot you or anything like that. So there's good. Suzanne says it's snowing right now, I-65 and 10 in DeMont right now. Yeah, it's snowing everywhere right now, Suzanne. Just some light stuff, but it's back. Oh, Ethan, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that track is going to be key from this. Not just the track, but the phasing of the lows as well. Because right now on that Euro, that Euro brings that system together perfectly, right? So there's a lot of moisture. There's an elongated front that kind of sits and stalls, so you get that overrunning moisture, and then the low finally kicks through. That may not all play out like that. The lows don't always do what they would say they're going to do. Prime example of that is the snow that we got in Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York, right, over the last week or so. That low didn't look like it was going to do much, and it looked like it'd be further to the east. And then last minute, sure enough, it all came together perfectly to bring that moisture. And so, it all has to do with stuff like that. But we could see a shift north, and that's why we need to pay attention to that, because I could see that thing. Maybe the low does, and maybe this is what you're talking about. Maybe that low comes up through Tennessee. Maybe it comes up through Kentucky, and then all of a sudden we're dealing with snowstorm Indianapolis, over to Columbus, maybe further north. We'll see. So we have to keep an eye on that for sure. Brenda, sometimes I wish you weren't so accurate. That's sweet. This is one of them. I know, but the temperatures, I feel that. Vicki, I know. I missed as well. Yeah, Dreg, you absolutely can. I'm off tomorrow. That's why we're, kind of putzing around here tonight. But I'll be back on Tuesday through Friday. So it's usually Monday through Friday, 5 to 7, or you can watch 7 to 9 online. But it's WKYC. That is the station that I'm on, is WKYC. And again, I'm closing in on 9 years there, which is crazy awesome. I just love it. All right, let's see. Jennifer says, what are we looking at for temps with wind chill? So Jennifer, first of all, in terms of our temps here tonight, they're coming down. So tomorrow morning, we're going to be in the single digits, all right? Wind chill values tomorrow morning, -10 to -20. We don't mess around with that. And so those wind chills aren't going to improve much tomorrow. We'll likely be in the -10 range pretty much all day tomorrow when the wind blows a little bit colder than that. But we don't see improvement until we get towards Tuesday. So Tom, great question on that. Tuesday, I could see delays. Again, I'm not the one that makes the decisions. It's going to be really cold in the morning. We're going to warm. I mean, it's not going to be warm by any means by afternoon, but we'll get up into the upper teens in your 20. Okay. So as a result, if schools delay Tuesday, that would be an option. I understand, we used to go to school and this stuff all the time. We've gotten a little softer in terms of delays. I understand that. I hear that all the time. But, it is what it is. And so, maybe they'll cancel on Tuesday. I don't know. It just depends on how your local superintendent's feeling. So there's that. Kim, thank you very much. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. Luann, thank you for the update. Thank you for that. Snowing in Maryville, she says. Mark, that's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Gosh, you guys are just you're showering compliments. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cheryl Lynn, great question. When do you think it will warm up? I do see that first week in February. It's crazy. January 18th, I'm like, oh, the first week in May looks good. No, in terms of that, Cheryl Lynn, it does look like the first week of February. I think we'll break this pattern down. I have a feeling it's got to break down at some point, right? So it does look like we'll become a little bit more zonal then. So that's that. Dee, thank you very much. Very nice as well. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dee. You too. Dragica, that's okay. For emails again, it's regionweather.com, Dragica, and then on the right-hand side of your screen, it says sign up for daily emails, and you'll just send, you put your email address in there and click submit or whatever it is, and that's it. Maxwell says, seems like the Arctic high is too strong for the system. Yeah, so Maxwell, that's another thing. There's another complication to it, and you're right, it has to do with that Arctic high. But the Arctic highs maybe aren't as strong as what the models are forecasting as well. Maybe this air isn't quite as cold that's coming in this weekend as a result. So those are still things that are in tandem with this. As of right now, though, Maxwell, absolutely. That low track is so far south because of that Arctic high and how strong it is. But we don't know if that Arctic high is going to be that strong, or maybe it heads more east versus, just a slight jog east versus south. There are a lot of things that can change with that system, but pretty interesting for sure. Ethan, I do think on Tuesday. I don't think Ohio schools are going to be in play. Brenda, thanks for putting the website on there. Mary says praying for no power outages. Absolutely, that's right. Yeah, I know. All right, Sherilyn says February. Yeah, we got to wait till February. I'm sorry. JP says I'll take a warm up without any storms. We're due for a good snowstorm. Yeah, and Katie, I know early spring would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, I think I got through all your questions. again, if you guys are just tuning in or you missed the beginning of the broadcast, the meat and potatoes of it, I get that because Micah C says, what are you doing here? It's awesome. I'm guessing that you're wondering what we're even discussing right now. But anyway, if you missed any part of this broadcast, once it's posted on there, you can do the little scroll bar at the bottom. You can go back to any part that you missed and go from there. All right. You guys have a wonderful Sunday evening. Just stay warm, please. Don't forget about the slow drip on the faucets tonight. Okay, you want to make sure you get that going. Keep that thermostat up as well. Those are some tips for indoor. And then, batteries. Make sure your car battery's doing all right. Okay. This is that time of year people find out their battery's not doing all right, and it's not a good time to do that. And if you guys have any heating problems, earlsheating.com. Okay, that's our sponsor. They're awesome. Everyone that's used them loves them. I mean, they've been here since 1976, so they're doing something right in Northwest Indiana. Okay? All right. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you all week long. Okay? We'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye, guys.